Welcome to the 2400 Block Podcast with your host, Johnny Rubes.
Hey, Claire, thank you very much. Anyways, we have another episode. We have a guest that's from the Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina area. We've got award-winning and best-selling author on Amazon. He does fantasy fiction and more. And he is an amazing human being, and we're going to get to that part later. But here he is, without further ado, J. Edwards Holt. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hope you are as well.
Great. All right, so we're just going to talk about your upcoming books, or we're going to talk about your resume of great literature here, as well as talking about where to find you on social media. But by the way, before I go on with this, what do you think about this? I'm just going to show you this real quick. It is an amazing piece of work, and it's going to be just like one of the most oddest questions I'll ask you. And you're probably wondering what this is, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
It's actually for the headphone. So you just pretty much just put the top of the headphone right here onto here, and it just hangs on. My friend Jesse from San Diego made that one. Yeah, this is actually 3D printed, so that looks looks pretty awesome.
Is that plastic? Is that what that is?
It's some sort of it's like a string. It's almost like a thread, and it just builds for like 2-3 hours at the most. I guess this was around 3 hours, and he had to assemble these, so he had to put these screws. So shout out there to Jesse for giving me this a couple of months ago as a gift. So yeah, that's just something I want to show you. 3D printing is just amazing.
It is. It's very.
Okay, let's get right down to it. Okay, so you're a product of North Carolina. And I do remember my friends calling it North Khaki Lackey.
Yep,
and
I've heard that
sure
before.
I'm sure you take that with pride there. So Jay, how was it like growing up as a kid in North Carolina?
Well, it was. I grew up in a small town, so there's that. It was a pretty decent place, but for me it was a little bit tough because I had anxiety and depression and all that as a kid, so that made things a lot more challenging. But it was a pretty good community for the most part. But like I said, there were a lot of challenges and things, and probably could have had better help systems in place.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up not too far from where you were, actually 3 hours away. I grew up in the Norfolk and Virginia Beach area. So I used to live over there. It's a great community, very laid back. I always love going back home there during the holidays. Always get to see mom and dad. That's actually where the rest of my family is. What are some of your favorite movies and TV shows that you grew up watching?
Let's see. So I grew up watching things like, let's see, for cartoons, I grew up watching things like Looney Tunes and, well, of course, SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob. Cat Dog for all the 90s babies out there. What else did I watch? Whole lot of, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, old classic Cartoon Network, like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dexter's Lab, all those things. I watched a lot of cartoons growing up, as you can tell.
Yeah, same here, man. I remember when cartoons were great back in the heyday. And I can't believe it's like 40 years ago now that I watched cartoons. 1984 was such a great year. I can't believe it's 40 years old now.
Yeah. It's hard to believe.
Yes, it is. I remember watching G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats. Those were really good cartoons.
Hmm. Absolutely. I was born in '89, so I was just a little ways behind you.
Oh, okay. So you're just as old as Taylor Swift. Sorry to put you
Yeah.
there. I know you guys are born in the same year. Um,
Yeah. As long as she's young, I'll be young. So.
yeah. I wonder what happened in 1989 that time for me. I was a freshman in high school. Yes, I was. 1989. What a year. Um,
Hmm.
all right, I'm going to ask you another oddball question here. Since it's sort of like maybe related to your book, but I just decided to throw it in anyways. Have you ever been to Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament?
I have once. I think it was back in 2014. I went for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I was the yellow team, and we actually won that
Uh
time.
huh.
So it was a great experience.
Ah, that's wonderful, man. Was that in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
It was. Yep.
All right, because that's like the nearest medieval times your way over there, and we have one over here in Chicago, not too far from downtown. I was cheering for the Red Knight in the joust tournament. I loved eating the rotisserie chicken, by the way, which was like a mess on my hand, but it was
It
it
was
was
good food.
entertaining, and yeah, and the Red Knight lost twice. I was cheering at first, and I boo a whole lot, and I lost my voice in the end, but it was worth it anyway.
Were you in the red section?
Yes, I was.
Oh,
Two
okay.
times already that time. So maybe I'll go back again next year. I have like pictures. I wish I could like show it. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
show it as a cutaway video as I'm talking. Um, all right. So how is it like on the daily living with Tourette syndrome, obsessive compulsive disorder, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder?
It can get very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It can get very challenging, and it can interfere with certain things that you want to do, and just make certain everyday tasks harder than they need to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've definitely gotten better at dealing with it over the years, but it's still something that's present and challenging for sure.
Okay. Does that interfere with what you're doing, like your book work?
Um, Not as much, not as much. No, when I'm doing something, that I love, it doesn't interfere as much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, all right. I might have covered that question already. You said in the podcast with Frank Starfire. By the way, Frank Starfire, uh, props to you. You did a good job in interviewing Jay Edward, and now here's my opportunity. Um, have things significantly improved through the years? Sorry about that. I got tongue twisted.
It's fine. I do that all the time too. Um, it's one of those things where things will improve for a while, and then things will kind of get hard again, and then they'll improve again. It's it's just kind of a struggle like that. There are times that are better than others, and times where it interferes less than others. So
Hmm.
it's kind of just where you just enjoy the good times and be ready for the not so good times.
Yeah, I hear you. Tell us about your latest book here, The Crossing, A Wayfarer's Chronicles. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. So, all your fans or all these listeners here are just getting to know your work.
Absolutely, yeah. So the as you said, the latest book I released was The Crossing, A Wayfarer's Chronicles. It's a story that is very dear to my heart. It's kind of been in my head since for at least 4 or 5 years, and but basically the premise of the story is in the universe that I've created, the seven branches. There's this realm that serves
Mm-hmm.
as a passage between the living and the dead, and that realm is also known as the crossing. And the story is written from the point of view of the wayfarer, who is the captain of a ferry that carries the dead across the ocean to their destination. And
Okay.
he's gotten used to his lifestyle and everything's going good. And then one day, um, a living girl shows up. It's only supposed to be dead people on the ferry, and that
Oh
really
wow.
shakes things up. And it's all about the struggles with that.
Oh wow, that is very interesting. I'm gonna have to take a look into that. Very
Yeah,
good
it's
synopsis
good
there.
reviews so far.
Yeah. How long has it been out?
Um, hmm. It was earlier this month, not too long ago.
Mm.
Couple weeks
Oh,
ago.
okay. Were you able to do any book signings lately?
Well, actually, I had one scheduled for this Saturday at a comic convention in Lewisburg, North Carolina, but the host had something come up, so it's going to be rescheduled.
Okay. All right. So that's I mean that's good. They get to reschedule that thing sometime, and hopefully you'll meet new people there, and as well as your loyal fans if they show up.
Yeah.
All right. So by the way, what's your go-to food?
What's
I'm sorry, another one of these off-ended questions. Yeah.
I'm a Subway guy. I'm always eating Subway. Like 3 times a week, I eat Subway. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah, Subway food is good. As for me, I go to Raising Cane's. Yeah, ever since they've opened it here, and I've always been going over there. Yeah, I love their chicken
I don't
tenders.
have that here.
Now, where do you draw your inspiration when it comes to the world you create in your work, such as the Barren World trilogy, the Battle of Donamore, the Summoner's Gem, and your latest one?
Um, let's see. Well, I love stuff that Tolkien has done, and
Uh huh.
C.S. Lewis with his Narnia stuff, and um, just things that I grew up on. I would watch movies or read books and about special worlds like that, and I just always wanted to make one of my own. And
Uh huh.
when I started my first book, I didn't really have that in mind, but then I decided to go ahead and do that. And it takes a lot of work to keep everything connected, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely keeps you on your toes, but it's worth it.
That's cool. So every time you're watching, you're like, "Oh, I got an idea."
Yeah, pretty much. Uh-huh.
All right. So are any of the characters in your books actually inspired by real life individuals that you come across with?
um, hmm. Not so much anybody, really, because the characters are kind of, just so, what do you call it, fantastical or whatever. I've never really known
Uh
anybody
huh.
like that. So no, not really. It's more just characters that I've made up
Uh huh.
over the years.
Cool. Wow, this is different from Frank's interview, huh? I'm talking more about your book. Yeah, that's the focal point here, guys. Talking about his book. Got to get that book out there. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm always down to talk about that.
we're trying to hype up the Crossing a Wayfarer's Chronicles that's out right now. Folks, check it out. Right now, I'll show the image on your screen. Jay Edwards, you're not seeing it yet, but you will when it comes to the post production. That's the book right there, folks. It looks awesome. Be sure to get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or wherever books are sold. And over here in Naperville, it's probably at Anderson's Bookshop. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So looking at that awesome artwork over there, man, who does the artwork for your novels? I mean, it looks impressive on each book.
Well, thank you. It's been a different couple of artists for each one. I you know I get an artist to draw the image, and then I have a graphic designer that makes it into a cover and everything like that. A lot of times I'll find like artists on Fiverr. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. You can you can hire freelancers on there, and there's a lot of up and coming artists that are really good, and um, so that's where I get a lot of the artwork done, or places like Fiverr.
That's cool. I might have to look into that because I'm trying to come out with a book. It's a futuristic novel. Right now, it's taking me like 5 years to do. It's because of
Mhm.
real life, and also I've got writer's block recently. I've been not writing for a while, and I I have a really good story in mind. It takes place in the future, the post-apocalyptic era, and it's more like a PG rated version. Well, let's not really say PG. It's more like mature. uh, that route, yeah. And I made all these characters based mainly from my coworkers. They all have these different personalities, and I just said to myself, "Wow, with all their personalities, I might as well just put all this into a book and make them into different names." And that's what I did. And I showed a rough draft to some of them, and they're like, "Wow, you really changed my whole name into something." I'm like, "Yep, it's
That's
all
interesting.
creativity." Yeah.
Yeah,
So hopefully, if ever the book comes out, I'll definitely let you be in the know. So
absolutely.
yeah,
How far
and
did
it
you
might have.
say you're along on it?
I know it's been 5 years, like I've stated to you, but I have like two more chapters to go, and then from there, I'm trying to figure out the ending that can lend some sort of gravitas to make it very powerful. And then there are
Mm.
some alternate endings where I'm saying, if that's not better, then this is better. Right now, I got like three or four that's like floating around in my mind.
I understand that. It's hard to pick that just right ending a lot of
Yeah,
times.
I just want something that can like have this profound impact on the reader. And there's
Hmm.
this thing about morals and doing the right thing, integrity, and I'm sure that comes across in your novels. You have the protagonist and the antagonist, and the good guys are basically doing the right thing. So,
Hmm.
and that's something I must admit is very lacking in television and movies too. Well, uh, let me be honest with you on this one too. You watch some of the stuff that were in our era back then, and you see how good it was. But now everything seems so edgy, and I don't know. That's just my honest opinion of it. Um,
Hmm.
some programming is very good, like Percy Jackson. Uh, by the way,
I've been meaning to check that.
I put the Chronicles of Narnia back on my watch list. I haven't seen that in years, so I need to really get caught up with that trilogy again. So
Yeah,
yeah,
those are
I just
good.
got back Disney Plus after so long, and me and my budgeting here, ending one streaming channel to another. Um, all
That's
right,
how it
let me
is.
well, yeah, yeah. As in regards to programming, I do love a lot of shows, but it just seems like some there's just not too much morals these days when it comes to the programming. And I just want to state that to you guys, whoever's listening, whoever's watching this podcast. I know some of you may disagree, but that's just how I've been feeling for a guy that's lived off in the 80s and the 90s. And here I am now in the 2000s. And we're now in 2024. Wow, can you believe it's been
Yeah.
24 years after 2000? And how old were you in 2000? You were like, what, 11, right?
I was
Yeah, around that time.
11. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow. I've always wanted to ask an author like yourself this one question. Does it take a
Okay.
lot of money to publish, let's say, a 300-page novel? I want to hear your perspective on that.
Um, well, really, I mean, the with Amazon's program that I use, you can publish completely for free. Um, the costs lie in hiring an editor, of course, hiring a cover designer, somebody to um, uh, draw your illustrations if you have them, and of course, there's money involved in promotion if you want to pay to promote. But the actual publishing process itself is free, which is nice.
Okay.
But there are a lot of costs involved if you want everything to be tip top shape, I would say.
Mm-hmm. What would be the ballpark figure so that way a person like me would know in the future?
Yeah. Hmm. It can range from just a few hundred to get something published to thousands. Really, it just depends on who you hire to do the work, and what you work out between you and the artist and all that kind of, and you and the editor and stuff. Um, some editors charge a lot more than others. It just depends on things like that. But um, you could get out under $300, or you could end up spending thousands of dollars. It just depends on the people.
Hmm. I see. Now, for your first book, how much did you put into that?
Well, when I was first publishing that, I ended up putting, let's see, I put almost $1,000 into it for this company to publish it because I didn't know any better at the time. And the company actually went under as soon as I paid them off. So, I lost that money completely. Then I took what I had and did Amazon's free publishing thing. So that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I probably redesigned the cover and all that stuff for about 100 and some dollars. But I did lose quite a bit of money on that first one there.
I'm sorry to hear that, but look where you are now, man. You're
Yeah,
reaping the rewards. No, not.
that asked for money.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely look up to you as soon as I finish the book. I'll definitely shoot you an email, and I'm gonna say where should I go from here next?
Yeah.
All right. How long does it take for you to come up with ideas for a new book, like from start to finish, from the moment you think whatever's on your mind to it being published? What's the timetable on that usually for you?
Um, let's see. For the longer books, I'd say it usually takes um about a year or so. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
shorter books, it can just be, a month or less. Um, and of course, short stories, they might just take like a few hours or something. It just depends on the length, but most of them would be the longer ones about a year, I would say.
Okay. It's good. I see also that you do poetry and you also do coloring books. That's a pretty good thing. Besides being the novelist.
Well, I think I missed what you said.
Oh, sorry about that. See, this is what happens, folks, when you're, doing the recording and then things kind of like freeze on one end. So, but when you watch it on the post production, it's gonna look so clear, and you'll be like, "What happened?" Oh
Yeah.
well. Here we go. I'll ask you again. Let me gather myself. I'm a little bit of some anxiety thanks to that freezing, but
No
so
worries.
you do coloring books and then you do poetry. Man, you're very versatile besides just writing these other novels. Man, you're great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I want to expand my writing. I want to have kind of something for everybody in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So last year I did the coloring book, and I got that illustrated with characters from the books, and that way,
Uh-huh.
it'll be something for children or adults who love coloring to look at, and maybe it'll prompt them to get another book. Um, but aside from that, I also have one children's book that was very well illustrated, and the jealous little ogre. You've probably seen that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the children's book.
Okay, looking at the illustration here now. Now, did you do that or someone did that?
Someone else did it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I wish I could draw like that, but I can't.
But at least you have it in your mind, like how you
Yeah,
want it to look like, and then someone will get it and will draw it for you.
yeah, it's
All right.
great having someone bring it to life that way.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you another off-ended question. You ready for this?
Sure.
Do you still listen to CDs?
It's been a while. It's been a while. My
Mm-hmm.
car does have a CD player. It's only been a couple years though since I listened to them. I've got all my music downloaded on my phone now, so I just play it through the aux port. But I do still have some CDs that I burnt a few years back. Um,
Oh
and then
wow.
of course some CDs from the 2000s and stuff.
Wow. Same here, man. I just grabbed these off my car, and
Mhm.
they've been going through different conditions, different temperatures, and I'm like, wow, you survived through the really hot weather to the very cold weather. I mean, we went as far as -12 or negative
Mhm.
15 degrees over here a couple of days ago.
Oh wow.
And just not too long ago, I believe it was like Monday or Tuesday, we had freezing rain and it impacted traffic big time. I mean, you get to see people walk, they leave out of the door, next thing you know, they fall, just like you're watching Home Alone, those guys falling down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just as bad as that. And then the car is like you think it's wet, but it's not. It's like actually freezing rain, sleet. Yeah, it was just terrible that day.
Yeah, we don't see that a lot around here.
Oh yeah, you're in Raleigh where temperatures are a little bit more mild, right? A
Yeah.
milder winter so far. What's the temperature range like over there so far?
I mean, today we had 65 degrees um,
Mm-hmm.
with rain. But let's see, last week, we had some nights in the teens, like
Mm-hmm.
18, but not much colder than that.
Oh, okay. I do have friends that live in the Raleigh Durham area. They just moved out of Illinois last year, because of a job situation. So I'm very proud of my friends, Bill and Jill over there in Raleigh Durham. That right there is Jay Edwards Holt. He's your neighbor. And I'll just say that just since y'all live in the same city. Now, aside from being the best-selling author that you are, and you have these other roles in life, man, you're like this superhero. You're an ordained minister. How did that come about?
Well, let's see. So, I grew up in church my whole life, and I always kind of felt a calling to the ministry. And, we had various programs for the teenagers in our church that wanted to get into ministry. And so I completed several of those programs and um, got a couple of different ordinations back in 2014, I think it was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, no, I'm not like a pastor or anything like that, but I am ordained as a minister. I can uh, marry people or do funerals, God forbid, but things like
Yeah.
that.
Wow. If one day I will, marry my sweetheart, maybe you can marry us one day if we ever come down to Raleigh, Durham, or maybe even Virginia Beach, which is like 3 hours away. I'll be
Yeah,
gladly to pick you
absolutely.
up. Yeah.
Sure. You just let me know. I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah. My friends actually been there for 2 years, not last year. They've been there for 2 years now in the area, and I was supposed to have visited them 2 Christmases ago, but it turns out that there was that Southwest fiasco. I don't know if you heard about it. The
Oh,
airlines like shut down nationwide, and I was one of those affected. And I was in the middle of my connecting flight. I was supposed to go to Virginia Beach, and then the next day I'm supposed to see them in Raleigh, Durham, but that never happened because of that situation. And I had to take a rental car all the way from Baltimore and drive about 4 or 5 hours to Virginia Beach.
hmm. Wow.
So
It's funny
that
that you
made
say it
that,
was a couple of years ago. It seems like it was just yesterday that all that's happening.
yeah, that does feel like that, doesn't it? And the years going by so
Yeah.
quick. Man, ordained minister. Wow. And you also help the less fortunate in your community. What do you do over
Yeah.
there? Like when you help them out?
Yeah, I've done some various volunteer work. I
Mm-hmm.
was we did some art programs with elderly dementia patients and stuff like that. Just things to help out around and kind of give back to the community.
Uh huh. That's wonderful. And you work with your church on that with them?
Actually, no, that was kind of an independent thing.
Oh, okay. That's very nice of you, man.
Hmm.
Now, do you have a family of your own? Do you have a wife? Do you
I
have
enjoy it.
kids?
I don't. I actually I live with my mom right now, who's not well, so I live with her and take care of her as of right now.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man. Hope she gets better.
Thank
Well, I
you.
see.
I
I
think she
see
will.
figures behind you, man. What are those figures, by the way? I know I'm kind of like just looking on the background there behind you.
That's some of her collection.
Oh, that's
She likes to
nice.
collect little figurines and put them in a shadow box like that.
That looks awesome. I don't even want to compare that to my Funko Pop collection, which is still massively growing here. For sure, I'll get a shelf for them, but right now they just remain by the window here.
Did you see where I got a Funko Pop of myself?
Oh, do you have a Funko Pop of yourself?
Yeah, let me
No,
show it to you.
oh wow.
Yeah, let's see if you can. I can get it in the camera there. Can you
Oh
see
my
it?
goodness, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool,
That
isn't it? He's got a laptop, which I use for writing most of the time. So,
that's nice. Was he like holding a laptop and then a one book on the other hand?
well, they didn't have a book at the time, so I just did a
Oh,
laptop.
okay.
Yeah,
That's nice. He'll be wonderful to meet my many friends over here. Um,
yeah.
what do I have over here? I have of course I have Grogu. I have Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Freddie Mercury, um, Oliver Queen. I think this is DMC from Run DMC. The, what's his name? The one that's with Doctor Strange. Yeah, he's
Guam.
yep.
Yeah.
And of course my favorite Manny Pacquiao here.
Oh, okay. I've never
Yeah,
seen that one before.
yeah, he's one of those rare ones.
Yeah, there's so
Okay,
many of them now.
yeah, too many. And I went to like a Second and Charles store, and gosh, there's just so many of them. You ever went to a Second and Charles store before?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay. So it's like this bookstore that sort of like caters to all ages. Like kids can see all these toys and collectibles, video games, musical
Mhm.
instruments. For guys like around my age, like there's vinyl records, used vinyl records, new vinyl records, musical instruments on that you can get, record player. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, and that's why I love going to that store every once in a while. I love seeing these kids just enjoying their time, being in a book club for an hour, and then there's like someone reading a story to them. I love that. I love this kind of environment. I wish there were like more of these everywhere.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and maybe one day you might just end up in a Second and Charles one day. You may never know, and you'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I remember this guy telling me about Second and Charles."
Yeah. Are they mostly in Illinois or are they around the country or?
They're everywhere. I did not
Okay.
even realize that they had some in I believe near the DC, Northern
Mhm.
Virginia area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely check it out. That's second. That's 2ND, and then the ampersand sign in Charles. And you look that one
Charles.
up,
Okay.
and you'll be like, "Wow!" I even made a video on my other YouTube channel. Maybe I can link you that later because it shows the whole Second and Charles store.
Okay, cool.
And it's an old video from like 3 or 4 years ago, and I still have it. And I sometimes look at it, and I'm like, "This is the perfect time now to show you Second and Charles."
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, maybe I might put that as a cutaway video so you guys can take a look. All right. Actually, this was a question I wanted to ask you. How often you go on book signing tours?
Um, let's see. Last year I went on, let's see, I had probably, I think 8 book signings last year.
Hmm.
Um, this year I'd like to have as many, but so far a few different places have venues have canceled or something, so I haven't had the chance to have any this year so far. But I'm working on arranging some very soon.
Mm. And what's the furthest you went?
Oh yeah, Kentucky. I went to Elizabethtown, Kentucky in 2022.
Oh, is that Elizabethtown, just like the movie Elizabethtown? I think that's the one with Orlando Bloom. Because I remember there was a movie called Elizabethtown. Hopefully that's it. If not, oh well, just ignore me, guys. Uh, wow, maybe one day you can make it here to the Chicago, Illinois area, especially in the suburbs. It's wonderful, man. I hope you check out Naperville. I'm putting in a plug for you guys. Y'all deserve to be recognized. And yeah, there's, like I said, Anderson's Bookshop. Check it out. You know, hopefully I get to see your book over there. And if I do, I'll send you an email or send you a message.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love traveling for book signings. I'm happy to go anywhere.
So, what is next for J. Edwards Holt?
Um,
Any upcoming book project teasers that you want to tell your fan base out there?
yeah, as of right now, I'm currently while I'm working on promoting The Crossing, I'm working on another book. It's a mythology that all the books are based on. It's mythology with gods and goddesses, and it's about all the creatures that are unique to the seven branches and like different species and all that stuff and legends and special artifacts and things like that. So it's basically my mythology book. I hope to have that out in a couple of months, maybe. It just depends on. I've got a lot of it written. There's
Hmm.
some editing to do, and
So, how do you do these ideas for your book? Do you just like jot them down on Notepad? Do you just like to just type them out as details and then later on put them into sentences, outlining? What's your process of how you come up with your ideas and making it into a book?
usually when they come to me, I'll type it into like the notes app on my phone or something, and
Hmm.
sometimes do the dictation thing or whatever. And a lot of times that's where I'll start with the book is by writing several chapters just on my phone throughout the day. And
Hmm.
then eventually I'll transfer it to the laptop where I can really get to work on the editing and everything. But a lot of it starts
Uh-huh.
just on my phone because I'm so used to typing on that all the time that that's the best place for me to type it.
That's awesome. I do the same exact thing. I just go on notes on my phone and just start typing away. There was one instance where, oh my goodness, I all of a sudden I don't know why I did it, but I selected everything by accident and deleted it, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's gone from the cloud, gone, and I lost an entire chapter. That was like the most
Oh
saddest
no.
day. Yeah, so I had to go back and remember what I've written, but I had to make it twice as awesome than how I last written it. So I had to put every important part listed
Mhm.
down, but then I just added some more in between it just to make it look even better. And I'm glad I went past that part now. 5, 6 chapters later, no, I'm good. I'm like,
Yep.
I'll never look back at that moment again.
At least it was better. That's what counts.
Yeah, and my girlfriend got me a MacBook, so I'm able to do everything on my MacBook wherever I go now. Besides writing here at home
Hmm.
with this banner behind me. Um, yeah, I'll definitely get into my book. I feel so motivated right now just because I'm talking to you directly. I mean, it's such an honor talking to to an author.
I'm glad to be here. I hope you will be able to finish it. I think you can definitely do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, how can we find more about you on the internet and on social media?
You can go to my website, which is jedwardsholt.com, or you can do a Google search for J. Edwards Holt. As far as the social medias go, I've pretty much got all of them. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's the same. It's at J. Edwards Holt. So that's at JEDWARDSHOLT at J. Edwards Holt. And you can find regular updates there. Um, Also, anyone that wants to get more updates can sign up for my email list. They just send me their email and I'll put you on the list for exclusive updates and sneak peeks, stuff like that.
Awesome. That is awesome. Anyways, I appreciate you for being my guest here today. So let's give it up once again for J. Edwards Holt. And yeah, just wishing him all the best. So one more time, Claire, do a little bit of yee yee for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Claire. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching this episode of the 2400 Block Podcast. So honored again to have Jay Edwards Holt. I know I have to keep saying Jay. What does the J stand for, if you don't mind me asking?
Joshua.
Joshua. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're definitely just want to be called Jay, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you take it easy there, and yeah, we'll talk again real soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Woo, man. You did a good job there, Jay.
Thanks for checking out this episode of 2400 Block Podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.